Oh, hey, didn't see you there. Welcome to Let's Draw to the Movies, where we combine two of my favorite things, drawing and watching movies. I'm your overfed artist, Stephen Andrew, and today we are watching and drawing the 1967 psychological thriller Wait Until Dark. The film tells the story about a blind woman named Susie who, by accident, comes into possession of a doll containing a bunch of heroin belonging to a gang of thieves and killers, and they try to get it back from her. It was directed by Terrence Young, starring Audrey Hepburn, Alan Arkin, Richard Crenna, and several more. I first heard about this movie way back in 2004. I was 14 years old and I was hanging out in the living room and I was watching Bravo's 100 Scariest Movie Moments, where the climax of this movie holds the number 10 scariest movie moment of all time. It's been on my bucket list of films since then, and it became available to stream on HBO Max, so I finally got to check it out. Well, let me just say off the top of my head that I love this movie. It's short, it's sweet, the script is great, lots of great callbacks. As a person who just absolutely loves the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the Godzilla Cinematic Universe and just all the cinematic universes, it was nice to get a break and have a smaller scale movie. Small cast, small story, single location, not 22 sequels. But there's not a ton of action in this movie. It's kind of a slow burn. But Audrey Hepburn is just so sweet and nice and great in this movie. And she's got just all this charisma. And you feel very, very protective of her when she comes into contact with the killers. You kind of end up watching the movie because you're really just kind of, oh, like, these are dangerous people, and you don't want anything bad to happen to Audrey Hepburn. And I think, in my opinion, that's what keeps you watching it until the ending. Now, joining me to talk about the film is our resident young person and friend of the show, Kage. Yes, just Kage, and that's Kage with a K. And we're going to talk about the movie together. But before we get started, let's do some shop talk, some artsy shop talk. Wait Until Dark has a runtime of 108 minutes, including the credits. If you're going to draw with us, you have any to all of the 108 minutes to finish your piece. When you're done, please comment in our comments. Yeah, okay. For my piece today, I am drawing X-Man superhero Storm. She has the ability to control the weather. Really, really cool. She's probably in my top 3 favorite X-Men of all time. Now, anybody that knows me knows that my favorite superhero of all time is hands down Batman. Little does anybody know that the X-Men were actually my first superhero comic book that I ever owned. Back in the day, Toys R Us used to sell these comic book bundles. It was just a plastic bag filled with a random assortment of different comic books. And my dad got me one of these when I was 7. In it was this X-Men, I can't remember what volume, issue number 3. It's got this cover of the X-Men all fighting each other, having this epic battle done by Jim Lee. Very beautiful. And the rest is history. I'm borrowing this pose from British comic book artist John Bolton. Amazing artist. Love his stuff. Check out his X-Men stuff. It's amazing. For anybody that's curious, I like to use mechanical pencils when I draw, and we are using Cali Arts markers. These are alcohol-based markers, not regular markers. And Kage, ooh, what are you doing here?
I forgot that you could do that. Sorry.
It's cool. All right, so I have Kage here. He's our resident young person.
Yep.
And he watched Wait Until Dark for the first time last night. Off the beat, what are your surface thoughts?
I think it started out good, In my notes, I wrote down that the first female character was hot.
Okay.
And heroin and a doll, man.
Yeah.
Doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, that's definitely the beginning of the movie. So when this came out, it's considered to be a horror movie.
Okay.
You know, kind of like in the vein of Psycho and Alfred Hitchcock. What year were you born?
In 2002.
Oh my goodness. All right, do you consider yourself a horror movie connoisseur?
Of course, man.
Okay. So how many horror movies do you think you've seen?
Like 20 or 30.
But do you think that Wait Until Dark would be, in your book, considered to be a horror movie?
No, absolutely not.
What kind of movie would you consider it to be?
Just like a weird movie.
You thought it was a weird movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think she's blind.
I think she's, all right, well, she's definitely blind. I think that you saying that she's not blind kind of, it robs the victory at the end of the movie. Spoiler alert, sorry, she lives. Come to you, like, why isn't it a horror movie?
I mean, there wasn't really any scares, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah.
Not even the last part?
No, I thought that was funny.
Oh, you thought it was funny?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know, I beg to differ. What's interesting about having Audrey Hepburn in this type of role is that most of her stuff, her commercial stuff anyway, are romances and comedies. It adds this extra sense of danger to the situation because you're just not used to seeing people be violent with Audrey Hepburn. And who would want to be violent with her? She's awesome. She's beautiful. She's innocent and just fun. In the words of Linda Richmond, she's like butter, and she just goes good in everything. I think that what is really great, and to me, what makes a scary movie, is kind of like when you've got a sense of dread for somebody. And I think that Audrey Hepburn plays just the sweetest, like, kindest blind lady, you know. And I think for me, what's horrifying when I watch it is I just think, oh my goodness, this lady, like, she's so cute and she's innocent and she's charming, and I don't want anything bad to happen to her. And so for me, that's what makes it scary, is just like, oh, I hope that nothing bad happens to this lady, because it's about maybe an hour and 15 minutes of her being conned by these, you know, scary guys.
Yeah.
I don't know, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I kind of like when the innocent person gets killed and stuff.
Oh. I feel like in horror movies today, it seems like a lot of the characters in them, you know, you kind of don't care if they die or not.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
So a lot of them are jerks, and they do dumb things, and they say dumb things, and they make dumb choices. But I think what's cool about Audrey Hepburn's character is that she makes really smart choices. Would you agree?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And especially for being blind, everything that she set up, how she did, was smart of her.
Yeah, didn't you say when we were watching it, you said, is she about to Home Alone it right now?
Yeah, she was Home Alone it, man.
So,
Which would be Gen Z for me, because Home Alone came out like 40 years after.
that's Home Alone is definitely not a Gen Z movie.
Well, it'd be Gen Z of me, because that's the only one I've seen.
Okay, well, all right. I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the role of lighting in this movie. The role of lighting is so important that the commercials for this movie used to have warnings for how dark they were going to make the theaters so that the climax of the movie would punch extra harder.
During the last 8 minutes of this picture, the theater will be darkened to the legal limit to heighten the terror of the breathtaking climax which takes place in nearly total darkness on the screen.
I am not an expert at cinematography or set design, but I definitely think that it took a lot of effort to find just the right apartment to set up the right scares and to have the right lights in the right locations to get that climax just right. I think what I love about the script is that there are all these callback moments, right? So at the end, he's about to kill her and she's looking for the switch to turn off the refrigerator.
Yeah.
So that gets shouted out at the beginning. She's like, oh, where's the plug for the fridge? And her husband Sam's like, you're blind. Go away.
You'll find it.
You'll find it. How did you feel about the treatment of blind people in this movie, where he's kind of just like, he's this husband and obviously he's supporting and stuff, but he's not like, he doesn't go easy on her at all.
You can find it by yourself.
He couldn't, I tell you.
I think that he's doing that because it had only been like a year since she was blind, and so he's just like, you gotta learn. You know, that's the rest of your life is being blind, and so being a little bit harsh on hers, making her learn a little bit.
Yeah. I liked when she expressed her frustration about that.
No cheating.
Do I have to be the world's champion blind lady?
Yes.
And what did you think of Gloria?
I like Gloria.
You like Gloria?
Yeah, she's funny.
Why do you like Gloria?
Because, man, she messes with her, and I think that's funny.
Yeah. Okay, to mess with blind people.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yep.
Gen Z guys.
Canceled.
What's gonna happen to us?
Yeah.
What's gonna happen to our society? I like the part when they're picking up stuff off the floor because she had that fight. And,
Yeah, she threw everything that didn't break.
Yeah, she's like.
Did we break anything?
Well, no. I only threw unbreakables. Learned it from Daddy.
I learned that from my dad.
In a plot of man versus man, as they say in film school, I imagine, because I've never been. I feel like the good guy is only as good as the villain.
Yeah.
And the villain in this piece, his name is Michael Rote.
Mm-hmm.
And what did you think of Michael Rote?
I thought he was weird. And with his like glasses and stuff and how he talked.
Weird in a good way or weird in a goofy way?
Weird in a bad way. He's kind of sus.
Wait, hold on. When I say good, I mean it was like good to watch. But when you say bad, what do you mean? Like he was a bad guy?
Yeah,
or...
he's like a weird bad guy.
Okay.
You know?
Would you be scared of Michael Rote if you met
No.
him?
No.
No?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No.
Overexposed youth.
I mean, he carries around a small knife, and that's about it. So
What was the name of his knife?
I don't remember.
He called it.
What does she do?
I think he's very menacing. He's very scary. If I was a blind lady and I saw him or heard him,
How dare you?
sorry, I would be very scared of him. So, since you wouldn't put this movie in the horror genre, what would you put it in?
It's more like a. I'm trying to think of the genres of it.
So maybe like a suspense thriller,
Yeah,
or like a crime,
A thriller.
crime thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How many stars would you rate Wait Until Dark?
Well, I'm kind of not into the old horror movies,
Okay.
so I'd give it like a 3.5.
Out of
5.
out of 5. That's actually a pretty decent score.
Yeah, that's like 70%.
That's a 70%.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said the older horror movies, but then when's the cutoff point for you then? What year would you cut off the old horror movies at?
Oh, like 2012.
So everything up till you were 10 years old is an old horror movie.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
What am I doing here?
Yeah.
Are we recording?
Yeah.
Okay. First time, guys. First time. Okay, wow. All right, well, 3.5 stars. Would you ever watch it again?
Probably not.
Probably not. I don't think so. I love this movie, guys.
Yeah.
But you were a really good sport. I'm so happy you watched it because I know that we had talked about watching *Malignant*, which I do still want to see.
Yeah.
But I know I wanted to work on this, get this YouTube thing going, so I really appreciate you for watching it.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so how would you describe this movie in 144 characters or less? If you're going to say
144 characters or less.
Yeah.
I think it's thrilling and suspenseful,
Alright.
and also kind of funny.
Okay.
But, you know,
Super thrilled about it.
thrilled.
Yeah.
Thrilled about it.
Thrilled about it.
Nice. Nice. Not thrilling, but nice.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like thrilling a little bit in the end.
Okay.
Because it's like, who's gonna die? Who's not gonna die?
Did you think she was gonna die?
Yeah, I did.
Oh. Okay. I wonder if I would have thought she's gonna die.
Well, I kind of hoped she died, but that goes back to my previous statement where I hope the main characters and stuff die.
Right, you just hope things die.
I hope when I go into a horror movie or like a scary movie like this, I always hope that the bad guy wins. And I see that's where I think the problem is. You know, the bad guys should be winning more.
Gen Z, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Gen Z.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Kage. We'll definitely have you back later for the young people's perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah? All right.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just be sitting here fossilizing, looking at my old horror movies.
You're old. If they're past 2012, they're old.
Are those church bells? All right. Well, if you'll just give me a moment to flex my Christian minister degree, I would like to examine one of the themes of the movie, which can be summed up in the last sentence of the film.
You're doing fine. Just fine.
The character of Sam Hendricks, who is Susie's husband, he's a man who is married to a differently abled woman, Susie, right? She's blind. And he kind of just refuses to let Susie's blindness be something that holds her back. And sometimes that goes to Susie's frustration. The beginning of the movie, Susie's husband has to go out of town. He feels comfortable leaving his blind wife home alone because he believes in her and he trusts her. And he trusts that even though she's blind, she can take care of herself. Now, of course, if Sam knew that his wife was being accosted by crooks, he'd have been back in a heartbeat. But it's the 60s, so technology's lame, and she can't get in contact with him. And if he got home early, we wouldn't have a movie, would we? But anyway, he's gone, and she proves him right. Susie goes through a harrowing experience, and she fights and she survives. And I will never, ever get bored of a story like that.
Strong lady. Susie Hendricks.
World's champion blind lady.
We love a theme here at the show that says, you're stronger than you think you are. Or in Sam's words, you're fine, just fine. Philippians 4:13 says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And it's been my experience that when I've come into contact with challenges and I give those challenges to God in prayer, he either fixes the thing I'm concerned about or he gives me the strength to deal with them. Of course, if you're in a violent situation, absolutely get help. Get help right away. If you need counseling or just to see someone, absolutely get help. But sometimes I would absolutely argue that, especially in America, I think that what holds most people back from living their life to the fullest is usually an attitude adjustment. I'm the type of person who gets overwhelmed whenever there's a big job in front of me. I've recently just started working towards my master's degree, and it has been a struggle. Suddenly, I went from having a lot of free time to juggling 3 classes, a full-time job, the social obligations of family and church, while still trying to make some kind of effort towards physical and mental health, and I hate it. I want to quit like every other day. I'm not a big fan of school. Getting to go to school is a gigantic blessing because I had been praying that God would change my life in a dramatic way. And now I'm going through this big career change, and this is just something that I have to do. Despite the craziness of everything, somehow God is getting me through this really busy time in my life. I go in every week, I feel stressed out, I give it to him, and I just plug in every day. By the end of the week, homework gets turned in. Somehow I get decent to good grades, and it feels really good. I realize these are first world problems. And I don't know who you are or what you've been through or what you're dealing with. But I know tons of people who have come out of horrible situations. And I have no reason to believe that you couldn't be one of those people. I don't know what your challenges are. I wouldn't want to make light of any of the suffering that anybody is going through, whether it is emotional, mental, or maybe it is your physical health. Maybe you're blind, I don't know. But whatever your challenges are, I do know there are two things that are absolutely true. One is that the Bible does not promise us happiness in this life. There are always going to be challenges. There are always going to be Mr. Roots and terrible things and suffering, and that stinks, and I hate that, and I'm sorry that that happens. But and the number two thing that I know is true is that Jesus Christ loves you, and with his help, you can get through anything. With God, you are stronger than you think you are. With God, you're fine, just fine. Thank you so much for checking this out. If you stuck to the end, God bless. Well, and if you didn't stick to the end, God bless. I'm super excited about this, to try this YouTube thing. It's something I've been wanting to do for forever. I don't know if every video is going to have a little sermonette attached to it, but this one just felt right. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, or don't. I'm not your dad. But next time we will be watching and drawing to The Great Ewok Adventure.